What's up, everybody? It's Carl with Haunt365, and today we're going to be unboxing and setting up the 9-foot Horrifying Hickory from Home Depot. Let's not waste any time. Let's get after it. We've got the base labeled A, 2 lower support poles labeled B, the trunk base labeled C, the trunk bottom labeled D, the trunk middle labeled E, the trunk with the control box labeled F. You can kind of see we got the control box here on the back. The upper support pole labeled G, the LED panel labeled H, the inner left limb labeled I, the right inner limb labeled J, the face labeled K, the treetop labeled L, the left and right outer limbs labeled M and N, 4 stakes labeled O, 4 gauze strands labeled P, and the adapter labeled Q. So now that we got all the parts and pieces out of the box, let's get to putting this guy together. We're going to start with the metal base labeled A. Then we're going to take one of the support poles labeled B, and what we're going to do is we're just going to click lock that right there. Then we're going to take this trunk base labeled C, and what we're going to do is we're just going to kind of slide this through this hole over the pole here. If you look right here, there's kind of this bump up. And if you look on the back right here, that's where you're gonna set this on top. Then you're gonna take the other support pole labeled B, and you're gonna click lock that right there. Then we're gonna take this bottom trunk piece, and we're just gonna run it down those poles right there. You can kind of see you've got these bumps, and on the top of there, it kind of set right into that. Now we're going to take this trunk middle labeled E. Same thing, we're going to run this down the pole there. Again, you can kind of see these bump outs here, and on the top right here there's a couple of holes, and that's going to set right into that perfectly. Now we're going to take the trunk with the control box, it's labeled F, and we are going to just put this right here and click lock that right on the top there. Now we're going to take this upper support pole labeled G, and we're going to click lock it right there. Also at this point, it does want us leaning this over the box that it came in. I'm not going to do that for the moment. We'll see how that goes, but I'm going to attempt it without leaning it over. So now right up here, there's a wing nut, you'll notice, and there's a little hole. We've got the LED lights here. It's labeled H. You can kind of see this area here. This is actually going to drop down into that hole, and then you're going to take that wing nut and you're going to tighten that to secure that into place. And then also there is a white and a black cord. You're going to go ahead and just hook those up while you're here. Then we're going to take this left inner limb labeled I, and we're going to click lock that right there. Then we're going to do the exact same thing on the other side with the right inner limb. All right, so now we got the face. What we're going to do is we're going to just slide it down the pole. If you look, there's a hole right there, so it's just going to kind of go like that. And I will need a step ladder for this part. Now, one thing you're going to notice at the very top, there's kind of a wing nut. We're going to take that off. That way we can put that tree top or crown or whatever you want to call it on top. There is a hole, so that pole will go through the top of the crown right here. And then you're going to take that wing nut and you're just going to tighten that right there. All right, I am going to have to tip this guy over because I can't get to it. All right, so you definitely need to lean it over a box. I was just being stubborn, I guess. Now you're going to take the left and right outer limbs labeled M and N. And if you look right here, you basically just kind of put it on the end and then twist, kind of lock that into place. I'm going to do that while this guy is still laying down, make it a little easier on myself. Oh, he's heavy. Boy. Now we've got these gauze strands that you can kind of just, kind of have hanging from some of his limbs. All right, the only thing left is the adapter. We're gonna go plug it into him, check him out. So if you need the box dimensions, I've gone ahead, I've put that in the video description below. The box is actually pretty huge. So if you wanna make sure that it's gonna fit inside your vehicle, go ahead, check that video description below. He did come out here for the 2025 season at Home Depot. He's kind of a complement to the Murderous Maple that came out last year for the 2024 season. His price is $279, and he was made by SVI. He doesn't really have any sayings or anything like that, but he does have a light, like he does light up, and he has kind of a flickering effect, and you are able to change the colors of, you know, that lighting. So let's go ahead, plug him in, check him out. So this guy is pretty awesome. I think they did a really good job on him. The only thing that I have a little bit of a issue with is this right here doesn't seem to want to go flush against the trunk there, but I guess it is what it is. And I'm really not really a fan of this gauze that they have hanging from them. I think it's kind of weird looking, but I don't know. Let me know your thoughts on the gauze. But overall, I think it's a pretty awesome looking prop. I think it'll look a lot better at night, and I'm curious if they fixed the lighting issue that they had last year with the Murderous Maple. So I might actually wait a few hours until it's dark out and see what this guy looks like at night, because I'm curious what, you know, that lighting situation, you know, looks like. Because last year the lighting wasn't the best. You could kind of see it, you know, coming through the face, but it was in a weird way, and it was kind of difficult to fix. So, you know, let me know your thoughts on this guy. But overall, I do like him. I think he was a little bit easier to put together than the Murderous Maple for some reason. I feel like I struggled a little bit more with that one over this one, because this guy went up pretty quick. So let me know your thoughts. So you can see it a lot better now here at dusk. It does light up a lot better. I do like the way that it does change colors, or that you can have it as a single color. It looks like it still kind of has a little bit of the same issue with the light, but it's not nearly as bad as it was last year. It actually looks a lot better than it did. So I'm not going to fault it too much on that. The other thing that I really don't love is like all this moss, like it comes off so easy. And like, if you look at my back patio, it's literally just peppered with it. It's everywhere. I mean, it gives it a cool effect, but I mean, how long is that going to last before it's just bare? I mean, honestly. So overall, I do like this guy a lot. So, you know, leave it in the comments. Let me know your thoughts. So there you have it, the Horrifying Hickory, fully unboxed and assembled. If you like this video and you want to see more like it, make sure that you smash that subscribe button. Also, if there's any videos that you'd like to see me make a video for, throw it out there in the comments. I'll see what I can do. Until next time, happy haunting. Cheers.